Let's get to Dak Prescott, though, and we'll give you more details about the duck costume as we go. But we got to get to Dak, who's coming off of one of the all-time great performances by a Dallas Cowboy, the highest passer rating in the history of the franchise for a playoff game. We know about the 4 touchdowns, ran in another score. So this was an incredible and a big exhale, I think, for Dak, for Cowboys fans. But now the turnaround is congratulations, you have to face the San Francisco defense.
Yep. So you know how I feel about Dak. I don't think that there was an exhale or anything. Dak's been a good quarterback his whole career. Of course, he had a good game against Tampa Bay. Now, I don't know what happened in the Washington game, but how can we judge him on this meaningless Week 18 exhibition game against Washington? I think, and I've said it all along, that the reason he has 15 interceptions are because so many passes he throws to his team, and they bobble it up and hand it over to the defense. Right. Did you notice they were way more careful in the wild card game?
Took some checkdowns, few more.
No, not him. I'm saying the receivers. The receivers kept it tight. The coaches must be killing them. Peyton Hendershot had one of the worst fumbles into a interception I've ever seen against Tennessee. So I think everybody is definitely watching out for interceptions. Now, here's the question. San Francisco.
Yeah.
There's a small problem.
What's that?
You just cannot run on San Francisco.
You cannot run on San Francisco.
So that's going to put Dak in the worst spot. So I'm afraid the interception monster comes back.
I'm glad you brought that up, because if you want to talk numbers about the San Francisco defense, and I know we have a lot of 49ers fans and Cowboys fans who are listening to this show, so this is not going to be breaking news to you. But the defense is number 1 in opponents' points per game. We know that. So holding opponents to very, very few points. They're number 2 in rushing yards per game. They are number 2 in opponents' yards per game. They're 3rd in opponent touchdowns per game. Now, where things get a little bit looser here for the 49ers defense is opponents' pass yards per game, which they're 20th. They're 19th on 3rd down conversions in terms of allowing 3rd downs, which I was surprised about that. And they're 20th in red zone scoring in terms of touchdowns. So here's it's just funny about that. But here's the thing, what the numbers are telling you is that, no, you cannot run on San Francisco, but you can pass on them.
Well, yeah, but let's be honest, though. How many of those games were San Francisco up by 4 touchdowns?
And teams talking about garbage time?
No, obviously, we saw it last week. DK Metcalf was owning the San Francisco defensive backs. Their secondary is not good. They're not a great cover team, but I don't think that matters, though, because if you stop the run with the Cowboys, we said it from August. Remember we had Tony Romo on and said the Cowboys are going to be more about running.
Yep.
Look what happened when Tony Pollard got hurt at the end of the year. Dak struggled.
Yep.
So I worry. If you cannot run, then Dak, like any quarterback, and I don't think this is just Dak Prescott. I think almost any quarterback, very few quarterbacks can elevate the team if the run game is not working. Is that fair to say? So I don't know if we're going to kill Dak. I think that it's going to be a hard game. It's a short rest, and it's going to be tough. But if Tony Pollard doesn't get yards, then Dak, I'll admit, will not have a great game.
Well, it's just interesting because the way that it's setting up is really falling all on Dak's shoulders, right?
Well, how so?
Well, if they can't get the run game going, then it's not going to be even whether Dak can scramble and use his legs. It's like, how are you going to be able to keep finding CeeDee Lamb consistently? Michael Gallup, you saw him in the end zone against Tampa Bay, using the tight ends in the way that they do. So it's going to fall more on him. Like, they might say, listen, Dak is going to throw 42 times in this game or something like that. And it's going to be
a loss.
For as glaring, right. So as glaring as it was, glaring in a good way, as the spotlight was on Dak in Tampa because everything was working like a well-oiled machine, against San Francisco, it could be basically all Dak and the receivers. Yeah. And if so, what happens then?
Oh, that's problematic. Yeah. And that's not just Dak. That's any team. Yeah. And that's San Francisco's
complementary football.
San Francisco's destroying people for that very reason. Yeah. To me, I look at San Francisco, there's 3 problems. Number 1, Nick Bosa. You can't have 3rd and 9 against that guy.
Yeah.
Number 2 is Eric Armstead on the defensive line.
Yep.
What's the deal with that guy? He's way too big and fast for a human being.
Yeah.
And
good player.
Number 3 is Fred Warner.
Yeah, who's one of the best linebackers in the league.
And he's going to run sideline to sideline and cause major problems. If Ezekiel Elliott gets the ball, I would not go any Zeke if I'm the Cowboys. I would go all Pollard.
Yeah.
I like Zeke.
Zeke might have a tough day.
Zeke is not exactly fleet of foot anymore, so San Francisco is going to control him. Well, let me ask you a question. If you're the Cowboys coach, and you've seen Dak all year, and you know that he struggled, would you keep running even if it wasn't working?
I think you have to. And it's like the staying on schedule. First of all, we're assuming this isn't a tight game, right? Because if you're down by 2 touchdowns or something, then obviously.
Well, that's a big factor, too. That's a huge factor, too, because what if Deebo Samuel breaks 2 tackles and scores? It's complementary football. If you cannot get behind in this game, that's very clear.
No, and Dak has said as much through this week. He's hasn't really been talking a lot about the San Francisco defense. He's been talking more about the offense. Like, we've got to make sure we keep pace. Did you know that since Christian McCaffrey has gotten to the 49ers, they went from scoring like 20 points a game to 30 points a game? And then since Brock Purdy has taken over, and I know they haven't played exactly, the dynamite teams, but since Brock Purdy has taken over, they are now up to like 35 points per game.
Yeah, that's the
crazy.
Problem. So that's probably why the run numbers are so bad against them, because people have to give up on the run. I would hope the Cowboys, Mike McCarthy's done that, but we've seen him do that before. He used to do that in Green Bay, not commit to the run. That feels like a disaster. And I'm a Dak guy, but even I admit, going against that team, you cannot have him throw 42 times.
I mean, look at what Brady threw 66 times against the Dallas defense. I don't know how much he threw against the 49ers defense a couple weeks ago. I think he also had like over 40.
And they lost 35-7.
And they were never even in that game.
Yeah. No, anytime Tom Brady's throwing over 50 passes, how many of them were straight into the ground, too?
Yes, I know. Tom Brady, he's got to lead the league in dirt balls. Anyway.
I would love to see, if I'm a Cowboys fan, here's how I want it to play out.
Yeah.
Pollard and Elliott are effective. The Niners, on the other hand, cannot run the ball and have to have Brock Purdy drop back. And then we're talking Micah Parsons time. The exact opposite storyline that we're kind of weighing in here.
I know, but in what universe are the 49ers not going to be able to run the ball? And, it's not even, first of all, Shanahan's like the run game guy.
Yeah,
and then secondly, it's like, even if they don't straight up run the ball, they're going to do something like between McCaffrey and having Deebo's ability to even take balls out of the backfield. I mean, Deebo Samuel's leading the league in yards after catch with 9. And Kittle's got like 6.5 yards after catch.
And don't forget, wildly fresh Elijah Mitchell coming off. I mean, it's going to be hard.
Yeah.
But it's playoffs.